Behind the bag, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jeter ends his final game with a walk-off single.
Here's the drive to left. That one is long gone.
Welcome to the Long Gone Podcast. It is me, Michael, and with me, as always, singing some playoff song now. S-Man.
What up?
Steve Bud!
How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah, that was you like that? It's a play on the theme song from the short-lived Hanna-Barbera cartoon Top Cat from the early '60s.
I swear, you need your own podcast of the most. It should be called Random. It should be called Random.
Yep.
You grab stuff that nobody is thinking about, and it's great because then you get to learn about it. But it's
true.
Not even on my mind.
I try. Yeah,
you try.
It ran for one season, 30 episodes, and then that was it. Yeah, or in the early '60s, there I think 61 to 62 or something like that. So
hey, Hanna-Barbera was the shit, dude.
There's so many fucking good cartoons with Hanna-Barbera. You had the Jetsons, you got the Flintstones, you got they even did the Smurfs in the '80s, all this good shit. Like Yogi Bear.
Bear, yeah. They you kind of go down as some of the best animators of all time, for sure. For sure, but we are talking playoffs. If you go on Lucky Rebel, the top of the odds are going to be the Dodgers. They're going to be the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get the Milwaukee Brewers. It's kind of Milwaukee Brewers and Dodgers, and then if you look in the American League, it's going to be the Rays because the Rays are just fucking amazing.
Rays are moving up. I'm surprised the Yankees are still holding their spots up there too. That's kind of
I'm surprised too. Yeah,
a little bit surprised there if it's me. That they're holding around up there. Because it's obviously I feel like the Rays should have better odds here since they're the ones in first place, right? So.
Yeah. But I mean, the Rays, you kind of look at it as they're coming off of a weak season last season. Yeah, they're coming off a weak season last year. They haven't done a lot in the playoffs within the last few years. So obviously there's going to be some trepidation there. I totally get that, understand. And then the Yankees are the Yankees, right? One thing we never really talked about on our show last week, and this happened kind of before we even recorded, but the Yankees, you could tell they're going to get back into spending more money again. I mean, they had a financial arm come in and give them billions of dollars. Wow. And you were wondering why? Because there was some flack that the Yankees never did anything at the trade deadline, nothing that would push the needle. And then you kind of look in their past off seasons, you're like, yeah, they're not really going after the people we're used to them going after, especially when they're on the cusp, especially after, making a World Series and losing. You'd think that the old Yankees would have been like, fuck this, let's reload, instead of restock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think it's a money thing. The Steinbrenners, we're living in age, which, we're going to talk about with our guest today when we talk about ownership and the evolution of ownership a little bit with some of it. But you're living in an age where owners are being like a one-owner team, and now they have always been a one-owner team. Now you're seeing groups take over. Man. Look at what the Lakers are doing, blah, 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 the Dodgers, blah, blah, blah. Man. So I think the Steinbrenners are kind of a thing of the past where it's like they need financial help to do what they've done before.
Yep. So
because
they're getting
the salaries are so much bigger.
Cash here with another financial arm, like you said, stepping in, and I think that's definitely going to be the wave of the future and how things are going to have to be, especially with the contracts going the way that they're going, and all the TV licenses and all that. So it's going to be the dollar signs are getting bigger, and the team's got to keep up with that. And best way to do that, bring in a group of owners instead of one single one. Yeah.
And I totally agree. And going into the postseason now, obviously the National League looks a lot stronger than the American League. Yeah. So I kind of look for surprises, not only to get into the postseason, but look for surprises. It's going to be that one hot team, I think, in the American League who gets super hot, kind of like Toronto did last year, that starts just winning games. Right.
Yep.
And I think that's what's gonna. I think in the World Series, it's not gonna be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be the Rays. No. You're gonna have to have a team that gets hot and push through. Where on the National League side, the old reliables, the Dodgers are going to be there. The Braves are going to make a big push. The Brewers, will lose, right?
Yeah, they'll lose in the opening round like they seem to always do, and
yes,
I'm surprised to see what the Cubs, Cubs end up doing here on Lucky Rebel. Their odds right now are a plus 1,300, so they're right in there in that top 6. Third best, fourth best National League odds right now. So. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, in the American League, it's wide open here. Definitely could be, if that team, that's fighting for one of those last wild card spots. That's basically they're in playoff mode and starting now through the end of the season. They're going to continue if they can work their way in there. They'll keep that hot streak going, and because they're already playing with their backs against the wall, and so I think it very well could be a team you're not expecting in the American League to come out of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is a year to get hot, and the hot team I think is going to make a push to go far, especially when you have a lot of young teams making it into the postseason who don't have the experience. As much as I like Tampa Bay, and as much as Tampa Bay is kind of a heavy favorite amongst fans, like, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays could move on. That's not a lock, dude. I mean, these guys, you're talking about, guys that really don't have postseason experience on that team. You have some, but it's generally a younger team. We're led by Junior Caminero, who's an MVP candidate. So it's going to look very much. I think the more shoe-in, if I was on Lucky Rebel, I would totally go for a National League team to take it all because obviously you have the Dodgers there who are a wrecking crew. And then other than that, I think the Cubs could get hot. I think the Brewers, I mean, listen, as much as we rag on the Brewers, they have probably the most talented roster aside from the Dodgers.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, top to bottom, and they haven't gotten far in the playoffs, but they do have the playoff experience. They're always in it, and and they got a really good pitching staff with Mizorowski there, and I think that because once you get in the playoffs, it all comes down to matchups. It's got to be your top 3 in your rotation versus another team's top 3 in a 7-game series, and then it all just comes down to matchups and who can finagle and do the matchups better is going to be the better team. That's the beauty of baseball. Team high favorites can come in and have an off day or an off series, and then boom, your season's over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you and I have always said it's a marathon, not a race.
Yep.
And at the same time, you look at that with other other professional franchises, other sports. I mean, it is. It's the healthiest survive, right?
Yep.
I mean, look at the Blue Jays last year. They weren't really banged up. You look at, this year, the teams that are kind of going are the ones that are like healthy. The Dodgers are a little banged up, so they're having a little skid. Obviously, when Judge was down with the Yankees, they were a little banged up. Obviously, there's a skid there, but you notice the best teams are some of the healthiest teams.
Yep.
For once, the Braves are actually pretty healthy, right? So we're waiting for Acuna to, sneeze and get injured again.
Yep.
But but right now, and that's what I think the Brewers' superpower right now is that they're kind of a legit healthy team. Jackson Chourio had some stuff earlier in the season, but for the most part, they're a pretty healthy team. And I think that's what's going to carry a lot of squads is how healthy can they stay.
Yep.
I think a team to look out for that was really making a push was the Cubs. Yeah. And then suddenly Dansby Swanson's down. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, the Cubs have been a team of streaks. They've been a team that can win 9-10 in a row, but then they can also lose 8 or 9 in a row. And, now they're on a hotter end of their streak right now and, on the up end of it. And also, in regard to staying healthy, that's important, but it's also depth is big too. Your next person up, if you do have an injury, how's your bench looking?
How's your bench looking?
To plug players in, because if you got a very strong starting 9, but say one of those players goes down, then if you don't have anyone good coming off your bench, you're fucked.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to go into the trade deadline figuring out where are we weak, where are we going to establish. Now, if you're a legitimate strong team with few weaknesses, then you're going to look for depth. I think depth is an easy thing to happen. And we've seen that at the trade deadline. We've seen some teams kind of stack on their depth, which was really good. And then other teams where it's like, what's going on? If I'm looking at the playoff picture right now, though, Steve, overall, I'm really disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed in Seattle. I thought Seattle would be so much better this year.
Dude, terrible, man.
But you and I called it. You and I talked about Cal Raleigh not having the season he had last year, that it might be more of a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that now.
How many hits does he have on the season? Like 51, 52? It's
not great, dude.
It's not great at all. It's absolutely
He's nowhere
pathetic.
near 30 home runs. I mean, he's a guy that I don't think he's going to get 100 RBIs this season. He's just, and I know he's been injured, but I just don't think I think he's a good catcher, but I've seen he was streaky before last year even. Because remember, he was kind of an older guy. Like, he's like a late 20s guy now.
Yep.
But and they're like, well, yeah, he's our future. It's like, yeah, but he was kind of clunky. I don't think he made his professional debut till he was 25, 24 years old.
Yep.
So the fact that now that you fast forward this and you're like, wow, look at this 60-plus home run season. Well, he was an amazing catcher. It's like, yeah, that's great. But you and I have always sniffed it out that it might be a little fugazi. Like, it's not going to last on that team.
Yeah.
And I think Julio's the same thing. I mean, Julio's still young. But, I mean, if you're going to be a legitimate, like, look what Junior Camanero's doing with the Tampa Bay or Tampa Bay Rays. Yep. Why can't Julio do that with this team? Like, they're incredibly flawed, Seattle is.
Yeah. Front office swung and missed on that one there. Because, they tried to bring the band back a bit when they signed, re-signed Josh Naylor, because of his strong playoff performance. And, they kind of retooled and, continued with the people that, that got them there. But,
yes,
when you do that, you have to expect the same results that you had from the previous season. That's not always going to happen. It rarely ever happens. So
that's why it's important to kind of stack the cupboard a little bit. I mean, give your team a reason. That's why I get frustrated with Detroit. That's why I get frustrated with some of these teams where it's like it can't always be the youth that carries the team because that doesn't really happen. Like you said, you need it. Sometimes when you get to those postseason, sometimes it's your bench. If you don't have a good bench, same thing with the bullpen. You don't have a good bullpen, you're not going to make it very far.
Man, you watched last night's game when the Tigers were up 8-0.
That team needs to score 8 runs in order to win.
They do. That's just it. Like, holy crap. Turn it over and then boom, 8-5. I'm like, holy shit.
I've never seen such a worse fucking bullpen in my life. And the fact that the management or the front office did nothing to fucking perfect that in the trade deadline is like criminal.
Yeah. No, that's a fireable offense. All right. I understand, like we talked about trading Scooble. That's fine. You had to do it. The writing was on the wall there, but you should at least try to go after, and get a couple of bullpen arms or something, or else you're selling that, this season was going to be a wash then anyway. But yet you can still see this team battling, and as it stands as we record, they're in the last wild card spot. So the fact that they, didn't at least try to address and get a couple of new arms in the pen there is shitty.
Well, that's why it's hard for me to believe that he actually thought we were going to make the postseason. I understand trading Scooble, right? And then you kind of figure Mize. You're like, okay. But to me, when he did trade Mize, I was like, oh, okay. So he doesn't really care if we make the postseason or not. And it's especially when he didn't get any bullpen arms. You're like, yep. Like last year, I thought he tried to make a legitimate effort. His effort was horrible.
Yeah.
Because,
he went for the bottom feeders, though.
Right, and it was really bad, but at least he knew that we needed something.
Yeah.
But here, it was like, okay, we're going to sell our important pieces, and we're going to do nothing else.
Nothing. Yep.
And we're just going to rely on youth. And it was like, man, you don't believe in this team. Like, he could say that. To me, it's just all fucking talk, dude. It's all fucking jab service.
Yep. I agree.
I'll talk real quick about the MVP race right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the American League is running away between Alvarez and Junior Caminero. If you go on Lucky Rebel, obviously those guys are huge in the MVP race. It's 1 and 2. And then you go to the NL, Ohtani's still up there in PCA. As much as I think Ohtani's having an pretty good year, I still think my money would be on PCA taking home the MVP.
I think so
even
too.
Jacob Mizorowski.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, Ohtani's been having a solid year, but I think PCA has definitely. I think he's had the better year, and if it's between those two, like it shows on Lucky Rebel, I would say I'd put my bet on PCA getting it this year. I think he's done. He's had a better season than Ohtani, and I mean, going look in the American League, a little more wide open then, huh? But definitely, I'd go with Caminero. I think
Yordan Alvarez and Caminero.
I mean, Yordan Alvarez, but Caminero, at least he plays the field.
Exactly. It's so hard to get a DH to win the MVP.
So if I had to look at right now, Caminero second behind Jordan Alvarez on Lucky Rebel, I'd give the edge to Caminero just because he bats and fields. So
well, that's what is kind of hard with Shohei, because Shohei, you could say, well, DHs it's hard to, but it's like, well, yeah, but Shohei's won MVPs as a DH.
Yep.
But the fact that now he's a pitcher, that actually ups his stock. I mean, you look at the two stats of PCA and Shohei, and they're pretty like this, but I think Shohei gets the more nod because he's Shohei and he pitches a little bit. But he's not even a full-time pitcher. I mean, they're talking bullpen got used with this guy. I mean, I really feel bad for fantasy owners who were all in on Shohei being a pitcher, because that just was never going to happen, especially when you get Skubal aboard. I mean, getting Skubal aboard was incentive for them to be like, listen, we love you, Shohei, to be here, but we're not going to rely on your arm to carry us.
We love your bat.
But PCA, he plays the field. That's what, to me, Steve, I would give PCA, because PCA plays the field. And what he's done with the Cubs, I mean, I feel like you could take Shohei out of that lineup and the Dodgers would still be competitive.
Right.
Where you take PCA out of Chicago's, and I don't think they'd be as competitive.
Nope, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think, MVP is most valuable player. I think,
yes,
PCA is the most valuable player in Chicago. And like you said, you take Ohtani off the Dodgers, they're still going to be right there at the top of World Series odds. The train will keep on moving down the tracks, but like you said, you take PCA away, I think that team is drastically different and not nearly as good.
Yeah. Yeah. And no knock on Shohei, because you and I love Shohei.
Yep.
And even with Jordan Alvarez, like, I would say give it to Caminero, just because what the Rays have done with Caminero leading, that team. And I love Jordan. I think Jordan's an incredible player when he's healthy. I think he's monster this year. 36 home runs, 88 ribs, 321 average. I mean, my MVP has to be batting over 300. I mean, let's just put it right now. I don't love that Junior Caminero is batting 273.
Right.
That, I don't love that, but I think we can get him up to 300 or close to it by the end of the season. I mean, the thing is, though, Junior Caminero, like we just talked about, Junior Caminero plays in the field. So it's like, it's really, like, I really want to put him there. You know what I mean? But right now, I think Jordan Alvarez leads it because it's all hitting. Right? And if somehow the fucking Astros could squeak into the playoffs and win the West, which is crazy, up that shitty division, which it looks like it's possible, then Jordan is probably going to be MVP.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't give the MVP to unless you're just completely demolishing records. You wouldn't really, MVP usually doesn't go to a player that is not on a team that's at least in postseason contention. So
right,
so.
Yeah, and you got some like sleepers. You got Bobby Witt Jr. in the American League coming up a little bit. I think you have, obviously, in the National League, I mentioned the Miz, Jacob Mizorowski.
Yep, that
could happen too. But with Shohei always going to be there, I just think that people are going to be reluctant to vote for Jacob Mizorowski. And when we talk to, a Hall of Fame voter later in the show that's coming up, he kind of breaks down some of like the way he votes, and you can tell they vote by trend more than anything, right? Like, we're going to give this guy because we know he'll get a few other votes, or we know like nobody else is going to vote for him or something like that, So I feel like when you're doing the MVP voting, it's not like what you and I would do, where it's like, well, MVP to your team, like how valuable are you to your team?
Yep.
And I feel like sometimes that's not always the case in MVP voting. So
for sure.
That's that. And I guess we might as well talk about it in the headlines. Tommy John, man, passes away.
Tommy John, man. Yeah.
Knew it was coming, I think, for a while now.
Yep, because he didn't show up at the Old Timers game for the Yankees, but released a statement.
Made that statement.
Talking about his, health hasn't been the best. And then just a little bit after that, he passed away. That's tough. Obviously a great pitcher. His contribution to the game went beyond pitching. Obviously, the surgery that helped, that helped so many other pitchers since then. It essentially saved their careers. The surgery is named after him. It's an attest to him. So, 288 career wins, ERA 3.34.
Read it off. Hell yeah.
I'm reading it off, man.
You're like, I'm doing it, bro.
It's happening, man. It's happening. 2,245 strikes, strikeouts. Just an incredibly long season. Went from 63 all the way until 89. Man, he pitched until he was 46 years old. That's crazy. The longevity and, like I said, just what he did on the field as well as what he did off the field. Just a tough loss here of a really good pitcher.
Okay, I'm going to ask you right now, and then we'll talk about it. Do you think he belongs in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame based on what he did, completely just as an athlete. But you take what he did as a whole, his contributions to the game with the whole, the surgery that's named after him, and almost hitting 300 wins and getting close to 3,000 strikes. So I just think his career as a whole, with the pitching and with the surgery that was named after him, I think I do think he should be a Hall of Famer because of that. The whole the whole resume.
Let's put it in layman's terms, or let's break it down why he should probably be in the Hall of Fame and where this compares to everybody. I think you set this up perfectly. He should be in the Hall of Fame for his contributions, what he did off the field. Without him taking the risk when he got injured, I think it was in 74, 75.
74.
He got injured. It was a 1 in 100 chance that he would actually be able to pitch again. He went with this experimental surgery. It ends up being successful. He missed all the next season, which I think was the 75 season. He came back and he was stronger than ever. That paved the way for pitchers after him who did the same surgery. And think of all the pitchers we have in today's game who should thank Tommy John for being the first. The first one through the wall is always the bloodiest, right? Tommy John did it and still was able to pitch into his 40s.
Well into his 40s, man.
Into his 40s. And if you got guys going to the Hall of Fame, you have Rube Foster, who started Negro League Baseball. He didn't throw up these Hall of Fame stats. It's just he started it. Marvin Miller with the Players Union. If it wasn't for Marvin Miller, there would be no Players Union. The players would be on those lifetime contracts that teams were giving players with not as good money. Right. So when he got into when these certain people come into the Hall, they're in the Hall for a certain reason. Bob Uecker. He was a shit player, but he's not in the Hall of Fame for being a player. We all know that. So like Steve said, like you said to start this, he needs to be in and marked like his plaque. He was a good, solid player in Major League Baseball, but the plaque will show he got in because of Tommy John, and I think that's very important to know.
Yep.
The surgery.
I agree. Not only that, but you look at his stats before the surgery. He made one All-Star team in 1968. After that, runner up for the Cy Young twice. Top Cy Young top 10 voting 4 times here.
Amen, brother.
Made three more All-Star games and pitched another 13 years after that.
Would you say 46? I think he ended up being
46. He retired at the age of 46 in the 89 season with the Yankees there. But I think because of the fucking Tommy John surgery, you need to fucking put him in the Hall of Fame just because you got a fucking surgery named after him. And not only that, he took the chance on this experimental surgery so that everyone else can extend their careers by having the surgery.
Yeah.
So put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So when he took it, like I said, it was 1 in 100. The odds by 2009. And I just grabbed this from Wikipedia, so anybody can see it. For complete recovery from Tommy John was 85 to 92%. Nowadays, it's like just under 97, 98, and 97. That's incredible. That's incredible, and that's why you see younger ball players getting that surgery. How many times have we seen in the minor leagues where people have ended up getting that surgery before turning pro or their college? It's like, I went down, but this is going to improve my draft stock if I get this. But obviously there's a risk like there is for surgery, but I completely agree. I think we talk about pillars of the game. It doesn't have to always do with playing. Writers enter the Hall of Fame. Broadcasters enter the Hall of Fame. Great, important people enter the Hall of Fame. And Tommy John is a very important person. It sucks he never got in when he was alive, but I think baseball needs to make this right. And I almost think they need to waive he's eligible now to make it anytime he wants.
Right.
But but I think he needs to get in. I mean, I think I think they need to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other turds that we talk about every week that's in the Hall of Fame from the Veterans Committee where their stats aren't even close to at least Tommy John's 12 wins away from 300, and and has over 2,000 strikeouts. I mean, we've seen some guy I talked about last week. I mean, I don't even remember. It was shitty stats, but got in. He was a great defensive player, and got in because of the Veterans Committee. So, yeah, put him in. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on, if Lucky Rebel had a prop bet to say if the guy Steve Ford picks for birthday every week will be in the Hall of Fame, will has been in the Hall, or got voted in by the Veterans Committee. Trust me, those are good odds. Like, you would have amazing odds. You'd be winning stacks, because I swear to God, everybody who you choose, like, they're like interesting players, but it's like, made the Hall of Fame. Of course he made the Hall of Fame. He had 14 home runs that year. Why wouldn't he make the Hall of Fame?
Sure.
Back in 1929, that's when he played. It's just, it's so ridiculous that the people that get in. I honestly think, Tommy John's a no-brainer. He should have been in years ago. The fact that he's not in is absolutely criminal. And I love that we ended on that. Like, I love that we're ending on that. Like, 100% should get in. We're both like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, we got another interview this week.
We do, yeah. We got Matt Snyder with CBS.
Yes,
has some author, obviously writer, great
Leadoff
stuff
man,
that he puts out. Yeah, Leadoff Man. Enjoyed talking about that. Yeah. I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, y'all enjoy this interview, because he was just a great person to talk to. Lots of knowledge and great personality too.
Yeah, Steve and I, sometimes when we get a guest on, they click really well, like to where you could be like, dude, we should all have a podcast together, because it's just the back and forth, and I felt like Matt was like that with us. I mean, he could volley it up, we could volley it to him, and he'd spike it home. I mean, the guy is, you watch him on CBS, you read his articles, and you read his books, and you could just tell the way that he does everything is he has a certain voice, and I think that's incredibly important. And the fact that he's incredibly open about, because he's a Hall of Fame voter, which Steve and I love to talk about, clearly. I think it was great having him talk about that. So everybody enjoy Matt Snyder. Okay, our guest today has spent more than a decade covering Major League Baseball as a national writer for CBS Sports, earning a reputation as one of the game's most respected voices. He's a voting member of the Hall of Fame, and I can't wait to talk about his new book, The Leadoff Man, which explores the evolution and the impact of one of baseball's most fascinating lineup spots. Matt Snyder, thank you for joining Long Gone.
Hey, thanks for having me. I don't know about the reputation part, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So thank you.
I want to, before we kind of go into the work and get your take on today's game and everything that's going on, and and everything else, I kind of want to start at the beginning. You used to play baseball. I've kind of done a little bit. You used to play baseball, and then what was the point where you thought, okay, I'm not going to play anymore. I want to go on the reporting side. I want to write about it. When did that realization become?
I think it's one of those things that people talk about, that you never really want to stop playing. I think everybody gets forced to stop playing. And whether it's when you're Jamie Moore and you're 49 years old, or whether it's me when I'm 21-ish, it comes for us at some point. So, I was all state in high school. I went to IU and played for IU, but I didn't really play. I just sat on the bench. And I played in summer ball leagues for another couple years, and tore my ACL along the way. And at some point, it's like, I'm not good enough anymore anyway. And, what am I doing if I don't have a path to the pros? And but I still, I actually got a job in insurance after that. And that's where I met my wife. And she always talks about how when we were stuck in our cubicles, she was actually working, and I was like reading baseball articles and writing emails to my brother and dad about how much the Cubs front office sucks and stuff like that. And there was a transition period in there that it would take way too long to discuss it. But I got to a point where I got lucky with a lot of right place, right time, but also a lot of hard work and skill too. So it's it's been a fun and interesting journey, but I still, I think it's funny when people say it's an insult, like, well, if you can't play, you right. Well, fuck, no shit. I mean, of course I would rather be playing, but
right.
Of course I couldn't still be playing anyway because I'm 47 now. So of course I can't still play. But yes, of course I would have wished that I would have, just to name a colleague of mine, Will Middlebrooks, even just to get a few years in the major, get that World Series ring, not even be an all-star, but like, of course, I'm jealous of that too. Of course I am.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Looking at today's game and just looking at going past the trade deadline, looking at a franchise like the Brewers, who were quote unquote in the running for Tarik Skubal, do you think a front office like the Brewers is too risk averse to ever drop the hammer for going after a championship?
Yes, and I heard so much from Brewers fans. What's weird to me, if I can indulge myself in a small digression here, is when I write that I wanted the Brewers to go for it, why is the entire Brewer fan base yelling and screaming at me like I'm a bad person when I'm saying, I wanted you guys to go for it. I wanted you to beat the Dodgers. I wanted you to get Tarik Skubal so the Dodgers couldn't get him. I was like, yes, I'm a Cubs fan, but more than anything else, I have a soft spot for tortured fan bases, which is why once we got to the LCSs last year, I wanted the Mariners to win it all, which is why if the Cubs aren't going to win it all this year, I would want the Brewers to win it all because they've never won it all, or the Rays because they've never won it all. And to let the Dodgers take Skubal, and I know they kept yelling at me when I said because allegedly they all know the exact offer the Brewers gave, and they all definitely know that it was better.
Yeah.
If the Tigers didn't think it was better, then you need to up that offer, and you need to make sure they can't say no to you. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, they were trying to do right by Skubal. Well, if the Brewers knock him over, Skubal doesn't have no trade clause. So he doesn't really have a say in it. The Tigers could say, hey, man, see ya. You were going to leave at the end of the year anyway. So it's easy for them, I guess, to go into the underdog role as fans. But I wish they would be a little more angry at the front office and say, look, you guys are so good at building a farm system, at operations, at getting the most production possible out of these players. But also, we'd like to win the World Series one of these years instead of just losing in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot.
We did. Yeah, we did this week. We did. I mean, I guess that the big question is going into the 27 season, do you think we're going to have one? Do you think that this changes baseball?
There's way too much doom and gloom right now.
Yes.
I think that both sides realize what's at stake, both for themselves, but also for the game as a whole. And what we saw last time was, a really, really annoying several months. But then when they got to the first week of March, there was an urgency, and it was like, right here on the heels of COVID, we can't shut this thing down. We just can't. And they got a deal done. They started the week, I think it was like a week and a half late, but we still played 162 games. We still have a full season. I think it's going to resemble the same thing. I think there are so many people angry with the state of professional sports in terms of fighting over money that they don't want to see it in this day and age. And I think both sides know that. And once we get close to the season, the players can't miss those paychecks. And by the way, as we just talked about, father time comes for everybody. The players get those paychecks a lot more than the owners, but also the owners thinking about not having a gate for games, the attendance gates. Attendance continues to rise ever since COVID. I think they're going to come together.
Yeah, I agree with that. Looking at your latest article with playoff predictions, you predicted the White Sox to secure that final AL wildcard spot with the Guardians winning the AL Central. How wild would a postseason Guardians-White Sox matchup be for Chicago fans after years of this doom and gloom?
That would be really fun. I tell you, I went back and forth on that. I really would rather the White Sox win it. I get tired of seeing the Guardians in the playoffs so often, especially because they're not a very fun team to watch. They don't have that much power. The pitching wise, yes, they're very good at run prevention, but at this point, it's not like they have a bunch of aces at the top like Corey Kluber. I mean, we're talking about Parker Messick and Gavin Williams. So it's not the most fun team in the world to watch. I would much rather the White Sox, especially after those 100-loss seasons, to have this quick of a turnaround And then you're talking about a power trio in that lineup of 3 guys who could hit 35, 40 home runs.
For sure.
Do you think this is a year that baseball really needs the Dodgers to lose? Do you think that it's kind of one of those where there's going to have to be a team in the American League that if the Dodgers do make the World Series, the American League needs to come through and win the World Series?
So,
or do you think it's not that dire?
I mean, the ratings last year were off the charts.
Yes.
And with the year before, too, with Dodgers, Yankees, and then Dodgers, Blue Jays. And if we went to the year before, when it was Rangers, Diamondbacks, it was wretched, just awful ratings. So, on one hand, the Dodgers are good for business. On the other, I can't tell you how badly I want them to lose because I can't deal with the narrative of them with their salaries, having just traded for Skubal, the three-peat heading into the CBA. I was already annoyed enough at the start of this week about how everybody was saying, "Oh, shut down baseball for next year." Maybe that. Give me a break, man.
Yeah, man.
The reason they could trade for him is because their farm system is so frugal. They still have the most top 100 prospects.
They do.
Still. But I would say internally, it's externally now because I said it out loud. I will be rooting against the Dodgers like I'm a Bears fan. I'll be rooting against the Dodgers like they're the Green Bay Packers because I can't deal with a three-peat right now.
No, a lot of us can't.
Staying local here, since Michael and I are both from Michigan, you had called the Tigers in one of your recent articles, their front office pathetically cowardly for their trading Skubal with just being 2.5 games out of the playoff spot.
And Mize. And
Mize, yeah. And how do you sell this move though to a Tigers fan base that watched their team play stellar, baseball since June 1st?
I think that the Skubal part component of it, they've been working on that for a while, right? We're not going to re-sign him. A lot of fans were already starting to get angry. I know that the social media bubble isn't real life to everybody else, but there are a lot of people who it seems like already got tired of him and wanted him to go, which is just a weird thing that happens in sports. It's difficult past that because when you're only 2.5 out, when you trade the best pitcher in baseball, and then 2 days later trade a guy who was looking like a frontline ace. Last night's start against the Padres against the Diamondbacks notwithstanding, but I really, as I wrote in that article you mentioned, I really thought the Tigers were going to win that division. I really I think the White Sox are going to regress down the stretch. I don't believe in the Twins at all. I don't think the Guardians are that good. I thought the Tigers, at the rate they were going, were going to end up winning the division. And then you look at between Skubal, Melton, Mize. Yeah, the bullpen has had plenty of issues, as have been well documented, but you can piece that together in 2 months. You really can. It's the easiest position to get angry at, but it's also the easiest position to figure out on the fly. It's tough to sell to the fan base. I guess you have to try to paint Skubal and his agent Scott Boras as the villains there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Kind of transitioning back over to the Brewers real quick. Do you think the Brewers did what they needed to do to get to that next level, or do you think their trade deadline was kind of ho-hum with
Not
the
really.
Dustin May?
No, I think, they could still beat the Dodgers. And we've seen how baseball goes, and they're so good, like I said, at getting the most out of talent. And you could see Mizorowski, Harrison, and Logan Henderson being a really strong top 3 in the rotation. I think Senzatella, what they're going to be able to do with him in the bullpen is going to be absolutely filthy. I'm sure they'll find a way to make Dustin May the best version of himself. And the Cardinals already got a lot of good starts out of him this year anyway. So they're still going to be really good. They're still going to win the division. I said in that article that they'll probably end up with the best record in the majors. But if the Dodgers get all their arms healthy, and you're looking at Skubal, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Blake Snell as their 4. Are you kidding me? And then Tyler Glass now then goes to the bullpen. That's a tall order. That's why I would have thought if you can get Skubal and make sure the Dodgers don't get him, and then you put him on your side, that could swing the balance there.
Yeah.
Looking at the Yankees, how do you think they did with their trade deadline? They really should have addressed the catcher position, and Aaron Judge looks to be coming back at some point, but I feel like their catcher position's still a little weak.
Goodman was right there.
Yeah. See, it's interesting. I think the Rockies really wanted to hold Goodman. So then you're like, we'll listen, but you have to knock us over. But you let the Rays get Liam Hicks there, and the Reds. By all accounts, we're going to trade Tyler Stevenson. and they just didn't. So it's like the Yankees didn't offer enough. The Twins deciding not to sell and holding Ryan Jeffers, I think mentioned their plans. I think they really wanted Jeffers. But yeah, it's okay. So let's see how Lombard kind of sticks at short. And then when Bellinger comes back, when Judge comes back, if Giancarlo Stanton can come back. I mean, he was walking from first to second and hurt his calf. How does that even? How does that link?
Dude. Yeah,
they are still scary if they get all those guys back, especially with that rotation now. That Fried's back, that Garrett Cole's looking like his old self, Cam Schlittler in the mix. They're really tough out, but I just felt like Cashman could have dropped the hammer a little bit more there with as wide open as the AL looks.
Is the American League, do you think the Rays to lose or the Yankees? Or do you think the Astros? I mean, the Astros are doing weird things again.
I'll say Rays for now. I don't want to say Yankees because you can't count on Stanton. You can't count on Judge. I know Judge said he's going to be back, but you can't count on either of those guys. I feel like if you get a good 2 or 3 weeks of September with Bellinger, Judge, and Stanton in the Yankees lineup, then I would swing to the Yankee side and say, okay, yeah, now they're going to win the American League. But for now, you just can't count on that. Yeah. And I think the Rays can probably do a little bit something with Freddie Peralta. And then the rotation looks pretty good with Rasmussen, Martinez, and McClanahan. They added Hicks to be the bat kind of behind Diaz, Aranda, Caminero there. So got some protection for those three. That's still a top-heavy lineup. The Yankees lineup full strength will be way better. But for now, I'll say Rays.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk a little bit more about the potential for a salary cap. You had a recent article where you talked about how a salary cap still wouldn't stop the Dodgers from being the Dodgers because
they would be different than how they look now.
Yeah, exactly. If if a cap were instituted, how would their draft and player development advantages actually widen the gap between them and the cheap or poorly run front offices?
Well, that's the thing is I think a lot of people focus only on the salaries, but as I mentioned, they spend more on their operations than anybody else. And I nobody's ever going to cap that and nobody pays attention to that, but their scouting development and all that, we don't have exact dollar figures, but from everything I've heard, they outspend everybody exponentially on that. And that's one of the reasons they're so good. They also have Andrew Friedman, the best executive in all of baseball.
Yeah.
So there's 2 gigantic advantages there anyway. And then some of the proposals we've seen for the salary cap and floor, they're always going to be right at the cap. And some of the other teams are never going to do more than just get to the floor. I also think, as I mentioned, we've seen players in the NBA, for example, take less money to help their team get better players to stay under the cap. You've got to figure Shohei Ohtani would be one of those guys who's just wanted to win, and he makes enough in endorsements and off the field that he would have taken less money. Yamamoto never wanted to go anywhere but the Dodgers, so he probably would have taken less money. So I think part of the reason for my article was I was just trying to say, like, a lot of what you're arguing right now is you want the Dodgers owners to keep more of their money instead of giving it to the players. Because a lot of these guys, now Kyle Tucker probably would have went elsewhere, but he's been bad this year anyway. Maybe Blake Snell goes somewhere else. And maybe they do not win without him last year, but he hasn't even done anything this year. So they would be different, but some of the spending would just be like the owners saving money instead of the players getting it.
I always wonder, I mean, we always talk about the game evolving. We talk about everything evolving in baseball from the players to how it's played. But what about ownership? What about ownership evolving to maybe group ownerships more? I mean, with the Dodgers and you see in the NBA, some of the, and even in the NFL with groups taking over. Do you think that could be the future is just pushing out, the single owner?
Instead of the single family owner, like I think about like the Reds with the Castellini family, for example. Notoriously cheap because it's just one guy. If you got a group together in there, then maybe they could loosen the purse strings a little bit. Yeah, I hadn't considered that before, but absolutely. Yeah,
I always wondered that.
Yeah. John Smoltz recently talked about potential how to fix things would be a first and a second half, similar to what they do in the minor leagues and getting their playoff, people from, playoff teams from the first and second half to give people fresh starts. What's your take on that?
I don't love that.
I don't. I agree.
One of the things we love the most about baseball is that it's a marathon, and if it completely collapses, then they lose their spot.
Yeah.
So last year, the Mets completely fell apart, did not deserve to make the playoffs, but we're going to give them a first half spot. I don't like that at all. Now, it ended up being the Reds, and they probably weren't a playoff team anyway. But yeah, I don't like that at all. I guess the theory would be if you were really, really bad in the first half, then you're still not out of it. Is that because he's trying to keep more teams in it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Do we really need like the Mets to feel like they have a chance in the second half instead of just being sellers and saying this is a bad Mets? So yeah, I'm just not a fan. That doesn't feel like baseball to me.
No,
it doesn't.
No.
And I mean, you could. I'm sure it's a rare case, and they didn't play as many games. But remember the 1981, the strike season.
Yeah.
The Reds ended up, I believe, if you added both halves, overall with the best record in either the National League or the majors, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
Wow.
Because they were second in their division, both in the first
times.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah. Yep. Oh boy.
Okay, I want to transition into the book, man. The Leadoff Man. I guess I got to ask for. And there's a lot of questions we have on this. But what inspired you to write this book? What was the catalyst?
So first of all, I always wanted to write one, and it had been kind of picking up steam. My wife and I had talked about like, hey, I've got to write a book one of these days. And then she would keep saying like, hey, do you ever think about writing a book? You keep saying you want to write a book. And it was in the 2024 playoffs, and I wrote a little bit about that in the first chapter there. I started noticing like the diversity of leadoff men. And the biggest example I chose was Luis Arraez versus Kyle Schwarber. Because Luis Arraez is the old school leadoff man, the high batting average. He never strikes out.
Yes.
Schwarber is people in the 1930s seeing Kyle Schwarber leading off would have pulled their hair out and said, what in the world is going on here? And then everything in between. Like there were a lot of different types of leadoff men, including Shohei Ohtani now leading off, which again, people would have lost their minds back in the day about him hitting leadoff. So I liked the diversity of the leadoff men there. And I just started kind of pulling at that thread in my mind a little bit. Ricky Henderson dying. Then I wrote a big thing about him. And I just read the Ricky Henderson book. And I was a leadoff man growing up all the time. And I started thinking like, I might have something here. I started to build it. And then I came up with ideas of like, if Kyle Schwarber and Shohei Ohtani can lead off nowadays, what other men throughout history who people would have never thought could lead off. Yeah. And that's when I got like Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth. And I was like, man, I could fill out a chapter with 25 of those guys. And then it's like, okay, I could easily rank the top whatever. So then I had the rankings chapter. And then it was like, I should tell stories about different guys doing different things leading off. And it just kind of like snowballed from there. And there are always lulls, but there were also times where it's like you get so excited about an idea, it just keeps going and going and going. And it came together really quick. I did it in just about a year.
Yeah, and it came at the perfect time too. I've noticed how you did. I mean, the way, because I always felt before I even found this book, I was like, man, there should be something out there talking about the leadoff man in baseball, how it evolved, how it's changed, and just kind of a deep dive into it. And then this book came out, and it's like, yep, perfect timing. Perfect.
And by the way, I spent hours and hours and hours Googling, searching any other, just to make sure nobody else had done it before. And I was ecstatic once I got to a point where it's like, I feel like if anybody's done it, nobody's ever going to find it. So I think I'm good to go here. Not that you can't do it again or anything, but I just wanted to see, like, I wanted this to be my own idea, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. How do you, analytics now tell us, to put our absolute best hitters at the top of the lineup to maximize plate appearances. Does that, strategic shift ruin some of the romanticism or specialized art of the traditional leadoff man, do you think?
Well, I still think there's going to be continuations on the evolution. And I was surprised that somebody that's old school mind, generally speaking, like Don Mattingly after the Phillies traded for Arraez. I assumed they were just going to bat Arraez leadoff, but they had Schwarber leading off and Arraez cleanup. I thought that was awesome.
Wild.
You're always going to have people continuing to tweak and see what works best for each individual team, and each individual team is going to be built differently. So I think we're always going to see changes in there. The one thing that I found very interesting was the theory that too many people bat their best hitter third because he's the guy that bats the most with 2 outs and nobody on base. And so it needs to be like 1 and 2 are your best hitters, and then kind of put your 6th or 7th best hitter at third, and then go to 4 and 5 for your next 2 good hitters. And honestly, like, The Dodgers are doing it interestingly this year. Of course they are, because they're the Dodgers. But you'll see like Ohtani batting leadoff every game, and then you'll see something like Tommy Edman in the 3-hole. And then like yesterday they had Mookie in the 6-hole and Max Muncy in the 7-hole. And I'm like, look, they're doing this. They're doing this stuff. So it's always, you have to have a deep lineup to be able to pull that off.
Right. Yep.
But I think there will continue to be evaluation. And again, every team has a different mix of guys, so it's going to look different for every team.
Did you go into the book thinking one way and coming out thinking another the more you dove deep?
I don't think I don't think I fully changed any opinions, but there was definitely stuff I learned. I did not ever think about the 3-hole batting the most with 2 outs and nobody on, even though it seems kind of like, hey, we should all know that. But I never thought about that before. I always thought, oh yeah, you have to have a stud in the 3-hole. There was definitely a lot of things I learned in the stories part, and like going back for the rankings, going back through generations, stuff like Roy Thomas. I didn't know anything about Roy Thomas, for example, late 1800s leadoff man, and how he fouled balls off on purpose so many times that once a pitcher charged him at home plate. And like a foul ball used to not even be a strike.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could foul it off and it would be a 0-0 count with like 20 foul balls. So the whole reason they put in the rule for a foul counting as a strike until 2 strikes was because of Roy Thomas. I didn't know that until I got into the research. And honestly, that was probably the most fun part, is like when I learned something new and I was excited to put it in writing and then let everybody else learn it too.
Wow. How do you think the definition of a great leadoff hitter has evolved from the, classic, like you talked about earlier, Ricky Henderson, get on base, steal bases, to, Kyle Schwarber is now, power hitting a leadoff. How do you think that, has
for a
evolved
long
over time?
time, it was just, even if you didn't have a high on base percentage, it was like, just be a little fast guy. So if you do get off base, then you don't slow anybody up and you maybe can steal bases. But they didn't even start paying attention to like high average or on base percentage until we got much later. The Ricky era, I understand where they are now. I still kind of prefer the Ricky era. Like, have some power, but also get on base and steal bases and score runs is the main thing for me. And if you have power, it's a bonus.
Yep.
So, I don't necessarily want to save guys for the middle. Maybe somebody like, I'm a Cubs fan, so I go to him, but like what Pete Crow Armstrong is becoming right now, where he's close to 400 on base percentage, he has 26 stolen bases.
Yeah.
He's an incredible base runner at going from first to third on a single, or scoring from second on a single, or scoring from first on a double. Somebody like that is still my ideal guy. And then he's got the 26 home runs too, so he can sneak attack you in the first inning. But like, there's still a part of me, I understand it, but when I see Schwarber, there's still a part of me that thinks, I just don't know.
Yeah,
no, man.
No, totally. I totally agree with that.
Batting average, I would just rather put somebody in front that's going to get on base more and not strike out quite as much to start the game.
Yeah, Steve and I, we're in our 40s as well, and we grew up around the same era, and 80s, 90s. It was the Kenny Lofton. I mean, Kenny Lofton was the premier leadoff guy, like a Ricky Henderson.
You read the book. Kenny is you can probably tell. Kenny's one of my all-time favorite players.
I love Kenny,
so,
and he even came out on a few podcasts a couple months ago saying how he still doesn't understand how people like him aren't leading off.
Yeah.
And again, I'm the same.
I've also harped on the opposite end, where if it's just a fast guy who has a low on base percentage, don't waste the out there. Somebody like Gary Pettis, he never should have been hitting leadoff.
Right.
But when you have the guy who has the 400-ish on base percentage and he steals a lot of bases and maybe only hits 10 to 15 home runs, I would much rather hit him in front of Shohei Ohtani.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. One last question for me. Why do you call the leadoff hitter the greatest catalyst in sports?
It's just the tone setter for me. Yep. And I think I go back to, again, as a Cubs fan, the Dexter Fowler leadoff home run in Game 7. The only thing I can think of that's even close to that is taking the opening kickoff back in the Super Bowl, like Devin Hester did for the Bears.
Yep.
Sorry to make this too Chicago-centric.
No.
I'm drawn from my own fandom there.
Yep,
it's like, baseball is the one sport where you have a guy who that's his specific job is to start the game. And I know in football you have the returner, but it's not like the quarterback who's returning the ball. And in basketball, you get the opening tip and you can run your offense how you want, but you might end up with like your fifth best player taking the shot, depending on how the defense shakes out. In baseball, it is just, this is our leadoff man. He's the guy who's going to start the game. He's the guy who's going to set the tone for us. And if you get a big knock, even a home run, I feel like it gets everybody going. And everybody excited. Meanwhile, if it's a big game and you get a strikeout to start, now the defense is all revved up and all excited. Yeah. So I think that it's just, we have a unique situation in baseball here with this guy being the starter.
I kind of want to transition real quick into the Hall of Fame voting. Steve and I, it seems almost every episode, we don't even try. We're always kind of, because we have this segment in our show where Steve picks a birthday, and a lot of times in the birthday, we find out there's the guys from the 1920s, early 1900s who made the Hall of Fame who probably shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
The Veterans Committee.
Yeah, the Veterans Committee was just scandalous. But okay, how do you so when you get into the voting frame of mind, how do you balance statistics, peak performance, longevity, and character on top of now analytics into your voting? I mean, how does that all work for you?
It's difficult, but I would say that I generally, because of how many guys in the past got in that probably shouldn't have, I try to look at it basically. If you're at least as good as the average Hall of Famer at that position, you absolutely have to be in. And I will go down to a little bit below average and vote for them. And my theory is I'm probably going to use all 10 of my spots, although I only used 9 in my first one. But I'm not necessarily saying everybody I vote for should be in the Hall of Fame. What I'm saying is I want my vote to count for this guy because it takes 75% of the votes to get somebody in. And there are some curmudgeons out there who will vote for one or none. Yep. So if I vote for Jimmy Rollins and somebody says, oh, you think Jimmy Rollins is a Hall of Famer? Not necessarily. I'm just saying I know that a lot of people will not vote for him no matter what, and I want him to at least get a chance. And if 3/4 of us get there and give him that chance, then yeah, he's deserving. So it's an interesting kind of way of looking at things. And I know some people, including my wife, have told me she hates that method and she thinks I should just vote for who should be in. I'm the one with the vote, not you.
Yeah.
An easy starting point is the Jaws system by Jay Jaffe, and I talked about that in the book as well. It balances the 7-year peak WAR averages with your cumulative WAR for your career, and it's obviously not the be-all, end-all. And I know we just talked about Schwarber, so I'll give an example here. His Jaws or WAR will not even come close to the Hall of Fame level, but if he hits 500 home runs, I will vote for him because of 500 home runs.
Yep, absolutely.
We've always held counting stats like that sacred, and I'm going to continue to hold counting stats like that sacred in terms of guys getting in. I'm not going to prevent a pitcher from getting in if he doesn't have 300 wins or something. That's ridiculous, especially in this day and age.
Right.
So it's a lot of it can be a feel thing. Like I will definitely, the Jaws, it's helpful on Baseball Reference, where it has the average Jaws per Hall of Famer. I'll dip down a little bit below that. Sometimes there will be guys that there's a feel factor. Yadier Molina, I think he's going to be a little bit below the average, maybe even well below the average. But I've never talked to anyone in baseball who thinks he's not a Hall of Famer. And he was so good for so long at working with those pitching staffs. And what happened the year after he left? They fell apart with their run prevention to the point that they embarrassed Wilson Contreras publicly and moved him to first base and then moved him back to catcher after that. And I couldn't help but feel like, you know what? That was because Yadi's not there anymore. And that shows how good he was and how spoiled they were for so long at game planning and working with pitchers. And you can't measure that in WAR or any
can't.
No,
so
true.
It's all part of the equation. And a lot of it is a feel factor. A lot of it is I'm capped at 10 and I'm probably going to vote for 10.
I want to give you the lightning round. So we do this with a lot of our guests. We do a lightning round where about like 10-ish questions or so, and then you just fire off what you think. Are you up for it?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Okay, Matt. Favorite ballpark?
Wrigley.
Favorite baseball movie?
Major League.
Oh, good going, man. Favorite baseball book, not including yours? This is always an interesting one.
I'm trying to look over here at my book collection here if anything jogs my memory. I'm going to go with Ricky. The Ricky Henderson book by Howard Bryant.
Most underrated Hall of Famer?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Maybe Ted Simmons. It took him so long to get in, and I know he's in there. I usually go the opposite way. Like, who should? Sorry, it's like
no, you're good. You're good.
No, yeah.
And if you want to explain anything, that's great. Okay, best interview you've ever done. That's kind of vague, but I would say I guess your favorite interview you've ever done. Yeah,
Mookie Betts. Late last year,
man.
I asked him about, like, he had a huge slump for the first half of the season, then he got hot, and my favorite thing that he told me was, I have goals every year, and once I realized I had no chance of hitting the goals, then I got better because I quit worrying about my numbers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
a bucket list interview for me, Mookie Betts, for sure. Yeah. Okay, toughest interview you've ever done. Somebody that was just kind of a really tough to get anything out of, or kind of not the most appealing.
I think he's a good guy, so it's not like, but Paul Skeens won't give you any more than the bare minimum. I think because he's had so much PR training, he's tough to get answers out of.
Stone-faced, yeah.
Yeah.
I know where you're going to go with this. I know where you're going to go, but I got to ask it. In their primes, leadoff primes, Ricky Henderson or Ichiro?
Ricky.
Yeah.
There's just with the walks and the power, there's a separation point.
Yeah. Coffee or energy drinks during deadline week to keep you up?
I don't actually do any.
You don't do any? Oh,
No.
good for you.
Good for you.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah. I was drinking coffee during this.
The final question, one baseball opinion you'll never change.
Oh man. There are so many here to choose from. I'm gonna say that Wrigley's my favorite ballpark, I guess. And I already answered that one. That's kind of a bullshit answer. I don't know. I don't know how I could narrow it down or like a specific opinion on there. I can tell you this, I'll never change my fandom. I hope that works because so many people when they get in the business, almost everybody else say, like in the media, it says, "Oh, I quit being a fan once I started writing." And I'm like, you could never, ever, ever pry the Cubs out of me. Never, no matter what.
No.
So I guess does that one count? Maybe.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're done with the lightning round, but I do want to ask before we're done with the interview. You know, we have a heavy collecting audience, like baseball card collecting, memorabilia collecting, which we promote heavily. Do you? I see you do hats. Do you collect ball cards or any memorabilia? Have you in the past?
I don't have a ton. I don't collect anymore, but I did when I was a kid, and I still have a couple boxes in my basement. But I also have like 2 displays in my office where I found like some of the coolest cards on there. For example, I've got like a Kenny Lofton rookie card with the Astros, by the way. There's one with Larry Walker when he was in the minors.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it right now. I've got a Dwight Gooden rookie in there, Roger Clemens rookie in there. So yeah, I've got a few good ones.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love the Lofton. I have a Lofton Astros card as well. I think it's Fleer. It's really. It's
is it the one with is the rated rookie in the top right corner? Or no, that's Donruss.
No, I can't remember.
Rated rookies, Donruss.
Yeah,
right?
those rated rookie. Yeah, those are Donruss.
I'm kind of far away.
What it was for Fleer.
Kind of far away, so I'm trying to eyeball it. Plus, my TV's away.
I was going to say on a non-baseball note, Indiana football. Can they repeat this year? You think?
Can? Yes.
Yeah.
Will? Probably not.
Signetti, though, man, I'm telling you, just the way he turned it around, it's impressive.
Yeah, I would say I would not be surprised if they did, but would I like make a bold declaration? Yes, they're definitely going to win it. No, absolutely not. I would not say that. I know that we're new to being good, but I'm not that stupid. I know a lot about a lot of different sports, and I know how hard it is to repeat, especially when they kind of caught lightning in a bottle last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Was the QB they got? Is he a transfer from TCU or what?
Yeah, it was TCU. TCU.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the problems was he's turnover prone, apparently, so that's what they're working on.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, nice. Matt, dude, thanks so much for stopping by. We could talk to you for hours because you have a lot of good stuff. But in the meantime, everybody go out and get his book, man. I mean, it's like I said, I can't say enough about the Leadoff Man, and I can't wait to see what your follow up after that will be as well. So thanks for joining us, man.
Well, hopefully y'all enjoyed that interview. Like I said, Matt Snyder. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Double guns right there on that. Like Isaac from Love Boat. Great interview. Cool guy. Like talking to him, shooting the shit. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that interview with Matt Snyder.
Yeah, Leadoff Man, great book. I had a pleasure of reading the book. Just Steve and I have always admired the leadoff men in baseball and how it's evolved, and just a great book. And I'm glad we were lucky enough to get him, and hope he'd definitely come back soon.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, with that, shall we head on over to the Fantasy Factory?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, you're still in first place, so that was fun. You had a nice battle with Joe this week, huh? You squeaked out the victory. You guys were the matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week. I was gonna send you the screenshot saying I'm beating him, and I was like, beating him by a little bit. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? We still have 2 players left to play. And the guys, for fantasy listeners out there, this is where stats are so important, but this is where pitchers are important, especially in those later games when you need a strikeout to win, you need a save, you need something, right? Him and I were tied. It was 5-5. I had my closer, the Munez. I think he was coming in for Seattle, and we were both tied at 52 strikeouts apiece. I needed him to get me one fucking strikeout because he was blowing me away in saves. It was like 7-1, dude.
Yeah,
you could tell how
you knew that one wasn't coming. Yeah,
no, I knew that, and that's always been Joe's struggle. This year has been Joe's strategy with pitching is stack up with saves, which is incredibly smart because you're always going to win that category. I got the strikeout. I watched it. I knew I was winning. I was like, dude, I'm skinning my ass, just fucking beating this guy.
Oh my god,
it was fun. It was a fun matchup. I thought he was going to get me, but I came back. I was beating him, and then we tied it, and then those are the ones that are always fun.
Yeah,
you're watching to the last out. Yeah, so that was fun.
That's awesome. You got the win. I was hoping because I was playing your brother Mark that I could get a big victory to try and propel myself back into closer contention. But I only won 8-4 since you and Joe were duking it out. So I only picked up like a game and a half. So still got a nice 4-game cushion on me. So.
But we had 2 more weeks left till postseason.
Yep. So right now I'm just hanging on, dude. I don't know if you saw Nick Kurtz is done for the season now too. So
I saw you drop him. I'm like, oh yeah, I knew it was coming. I thought they were gonna he was gonna get a second opinion. That's why I was surprised you dropped him. But then I kind of was like reading up on the reports. I'm like, oh yeah, he fucking done.
Yeah, he's done.
100% done.
Yeah. So I'm just right now. I'm trying to scrape in, man. Just trying to scrape along.
Were you the team that dropped Cal Raleigh too? The big dumper got dumped over the weekend.
Oh, did he? No, that one was not me. No.
Someone must have been pissed. That was like a rage drop.
Fuck this guy.
Fuck this guy. I'm out of the playoffs. Fuck him. It was like a statement. I'm dropping this asshole.
That's beautiful. Oh man. Well, we got a question for this week, though, right?
We do, man. We do. Okay. We got one from Jesse Rover from Sugar Land, Texas. Jesse, I don't know if you're a boy or girl. I didn't really look this time, so forgive me. Probably didn't even have to say that. We could just went with it. But Jesse Rover from Sugar Land, Texas. He or she asks, right now, who would be the top 5 picks for next year? The fact that Jesse's asking this question, I'm guessing Jesse's moved on from this year and is not making the postseason.
It's a rebuilding year for Jesse.
It's a rebuilding year for Jesse. Steve, who are your, top 5 picks, if you could say, in the draft for next year?
Yeah, so, we talked about him a little bit earlier. I think a guy that's moving up a bit, on Lucky Rebel, he's right up there with MVP conversation. I can see Junior Caminero up there. I'm not sure if he's like top, but I'm going to go with my top number 1. I'm still going to go with Bobby Witt Jr. I still think Smart. He's tops of the guns there. Number 2, I'm going to go with Ohtani, the batter, just because he's still mashing, hitting RBIs. Average is still pretty good, not as good as it was when he was strictly just hitting. So Ohtani 2, I'm going to go. Coming fresh off because he'll, knock on wood, be healthy next year because if he is, he's a beast. Aaron Judge, I still think number 3. I'm going to go Junior Caminero 4, and then I'm going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to go James Wood for the Nationals. I like him, so he'd be my 5th guy.
What a fucking sneak with James Wood in there. I fucking love that dude.
Fucking love James Wood.
Dude, I do too. He's sneaky good. Nobody ever talks about him. He's sneaky good. Love it. I think number one is probably going to be Ohtani. If he had a bad season this year, it'd be different. But he's still, even though he was injured a little bit, and it hasn't been like Ohtani-esque, it's still pretty fucking dynamite.
Yeah.
So I'll do Ohtani 1, which makes a lot of sense. Number 2, I'm going the Miz. I think for a pitcher, I think he's in his home stretch. Okay. I mean, I don't know what he's going to be like 5 years from now, but you and I had an episode over a month ago where we said he might have the better career than Skeens when it's done. This is the Miz's time to shine, and he's taking advantage of it.
Okay.
The Miz. Number 3, I'm going Aaron Judge. Like you said, down year, injuries, but it's Aaron Judge. You can't leave him out. Right. Number 4, I'm going to go Junior Caminero. I think this is just the start of his dominance in this league. Dude has braces too, which is insane. Such a hard move. So hard. Goes hard, dude.
When you got the money, obviously growing up, he probably grew up with not much money. So he's probably like, all right, well, I got the money.
Time to get those teeth fixed now.
Time to get those teeth fixed now in my 20s. Better late than never.
Number 5, PCA. Got to go Cub
PCA.
there.
Okay, man, dropping Bobby Witt. Do you think Bobby Witt's still top 10?
Here's the thing. Everybody's trying to make Bobby Witt a thing. And I think he is a thing, right? He is. But where is that season where he just throws those video game numbers at? I think he's a great player. But if I'm going to do an MVP, I need a video game guy. Aaron Judge, video game guy. Shohei Ohtani, video game guy.
Okay.
Bobby Witt's it's like he has a lot of home runs, not as many RBIs, and a high average. I need the video game guy, like the Ronald Acuna from 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Dude was hitting over 300, had like 40 home runs, had fucking like tons of steals, over 100 RBIs. To me, those are MVP numbers, right? So I don't need a piecemeal MVP.
Okay. I like it. Might use that as my hook on one of the videos this week. That's pretty good.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah. All right. We're rounding out. I mean, we're coming close to the end of our fantasy season.
Playoff time.
Steve, you got to help some of the guys holding on who aren't rage dropping players to make it to the next part.
Like
starters.
No, I'm just kidding.
right. I think you're okay in our league. I think you're set for a little bit.
Yeah, mine. I saw the writing on the wall with Nick Kurtz. Yeah, I was looking between because I do that. I look to see the 6th place person because the top 6 get in. And I'm like, I think I'm in good shape. But
I think you'll be okay.
I still want to get in that top 2 and get that fucking bye.
That's what I'm hoping for, brother. Like you said last week, you mentioned this last week. You said it's all about getting the bye.
It's all about getting that bye. Get a good chance at making it to the end if you get that bye.
Yep. So with that said, are you ready for some starter set?
Yeah, let's cue the music.
All right, Steve, who are we starting this week? Casey Schmidt or Novi Marte?
Casey Schmidt.
Ernie Clement or Miguel Garcia?
Ernie Clement.
Blaze Jordan or Sal Stewart?
Sal Stewart.
Jackson Holiday or Bryce Terang?
Bryce Terang.
I'm out on Jackson Holiday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude,
I feel like he's a bust. He's a bust.
Oh, man.
He needs a new team because I just feel like he's a bust. Jung-Hoo Lee or Andy Pagas?
Andy Pagas.
Matt McClain or Nick Gonzalez? Both good.
Yeah. Matt McClain.
Miguel Vargas or Alec Baum?
Alec Baum.
Mason Wynn or Geraldo Perdomo?
Mason Wynn.
Colt Keith or Brendan Donovan?
Brendan Donovan.
Eugenio Suarez or Junior Caminero?
Junior Caminero.
Jordan Lawler, who's back from IL, or Willie Adames?
Jordan Lawler.
Michael Busch or Josh Naylor?
Michael Busch.
Gleyber Torres or Nico Horner? Both having good second halves.
Yeah. Gleyber Torres.
Xavier Edwards or Jeremy Pena?
Jeremy Pena.
And rounding it out, 2 good players, one on the rise and one a star, James Wood or Max Clark?
James Wood.
What do we got for waiver wire?
So there's 3 players I'm looking at this week on the waiver wire to potentially help your team in this playoff push here for the last couple of weeks. First is Tyler Mahle for Atlanta. He's up 17% in Yahoo leagues. He's had 16 strikeouts in the last 2 weeks, getting a win and a .75 ERA. Second is Kristen Encarnacio Strand for the Orioles. He's up 4% in Yahoo leagues. He hit .346 last week with 3 dingers and 10 RBIs. And third is Cal Quantrill for the Texas Rangers. He's up 5% in Yahoo leagues. Last week, he pitched 5 innings with 6 Ks, getting the no decisions. So those are 3 players I'm looking at this week on the waiver wire.
Very good.
Nice. Well, with that, shall we head on over to Collection Corner?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. You don't need to be a serious collector to get into cards. Market Movers makes it simple. Just take a picture of any card and instantly see its value, sales history, and add it to your collection. With data from millions of transactions across all major marketplaces, you can trust what you're seeing. You can track your collection, follow your favorite players, and better understand the card market. Plus, members get monthly giveaways, a weekly newsletter, and invites to live events. Use code GONE20 for 2 weeks free, then 20% off for life at marketmoversapp.com. And speaking of monthly giveaways, between now and our Hobby Huddle segment in August, you can enter for a chance to win a 2026 Topps Series 2 Jumbo Box. When you sign up for your membership using promo code GONE20, that automatically enters you into the giveaway. If you signed up in the past, don't worry, you are already entered. So, head to marketmoversapp.com and get in on the fun.
All right, Steve. I think you should get this one pretty good. Okay. I actually feel like you mentioned him. I can't remember if you had this guy as part of your picks weeks and weeks and weeks ago, but who knows? Okay. One of the best left-handed pitchers to ever play the game. His debut was in 1942, and it spanned till 1965. That's 3 decades of baseball right there.
Okay.
He had 363 wins, 245 losses, a 3.09 ERA. I thought he had 3,000 strikeouts, but he didn't. He ended up with 2,583. Like, that's in Tommy John era right there.
Yeah, geez, yeah.
17-time All-Star, World Series champion, Cy Young Award winner, just won. 8-time NL wins leader, 3-time NL ERA leader, 4-time NL strikeout leader. He's in the Braves Hall of Fame. He's in the Braves Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Braves Hall of Fame. American Family Field. Clearly Milwaukee wanted to put him as well. Milwaukee just puts everybody in, but technically speaking, they used to be the Milwaukee Braves, so we'll let this one pass. He had a famous, this might give it away, famous high leg windup kind of kick to his throw. Big old boxer's nose, but definitely one of the greatest pitchers ever. Kind of gets overlooked for his era just because he played when Bob Feller played. He played when Jim Palmer played. He played when Juan Marichal played. I mean, Sandy Koufax. I mean, he was always the 3rd or 4th tier guy, but he was always just Mr. Reliable.
Well, Spawn Insane and Pray for Rain. It's Warren Spahn.
Let's go. Yeah.
Dude, such a that leg, man. I'm looking at I'm looking at a picture now. I just pulled it up of that delivery just so I can see that high leg kick, and dude, that's killer. Yeah.
I would say in today's world, in today's game, his pitches would be tipped a lot.
Oh, totally.
Because the way he would bring it into his glove and come back.
Yep.
I don't know. Like Juan Marichal he said he'd had a high leg kick because he'd like to. And Nomo did that too, where they would actually block the ball. So that way, when the hitter seen the ball, it was actually out here more than it was back here.
Okay.
But Spawn was a little different. Spawn looked like you could know a pitch is coming like 2 seconds before you threw it.
Get lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. So I chose for my Market Movers pick of the week is his 1960 Topps Warren Spahn, number 445. Nice. Good looking card. I just love that style where they have that like lower third banner on them, and then like it's like black and red or depending on the team. And then they have like a side like profile picture of them, which is really cool. A Market Movers raw ungraded between 15 and 35. So those are the ones that are like frayed, ripped, kind of not great. Yep. The PSA like mint ones can go upwards of $300.
Whew, okay. Nice. Well, I think you'll probably get my guy here too. Well, strong possibility of it. Not as good as Warren Spahn, I'll say that. This guy was he's obviously still playing. It's a guy still out there playing. He was selected in the 5th round of the 2011 Major League Draft by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he had a signing bonus of $600,000. So he putzed around in the minors for a bit before making his Major League debut with the Pirates in 2016. Pretty solid run with the with the Pirates, but in typical Pirates fashion, this guy's doing great. What do we do? Trade him. So they traded him to Tampa Bay, and he got inserted into their rotation, and started fucking pretty hard there. Played with Tampa Bay for a bit, and then ended up heading over to where else do you go? I mean, they pretty much have everybody. Let's go put him with the Dodgers there. And the guy's career record right now is 46-36. He has 1,001 strikeouts and a 3.69 ERA. He's made one All-Star team, and that was in 2024. Really? But he's also a 2-time World Series champion, and he's going for a third one right now too. It's a guy we talked about where going from Tampa to Los Angeles, that change in scenery seems to have done him some good here. So, do you know what I'm talking about? Also, guy's pretty sweet looking hair too.
Well, it was an interesting trade when he got traded, but you're talking about the guy that bitched about the spider tack for 2 years straight.
There we go. That's the one.
Mr. Tyler Glasnow.
It is Mr. Tyler Glasnow. Yes. Yeah. I forgot about the spider tack.
Oh my God. I think remember you and I were sitting at work one day. We're like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, man.
That's all I do is bitch about it.
My market movers pick for him was his 2025 Topps Series 1, number 201. Raw goes for anywhere between about $1 or $2.
Okay.
People aren't getting this thing really graded, so really you're just seeing it in the raw form, because who wants to grade a Tyler Glasnow Series 1 random card? So it goes for about $1 or $2.
That trade was weird, if I remember right. Wasn't Chris Archer part of that trade?
Yeah. I
can't remember.
Yeah.
Was Austin Meadows? I think he was in there.
Austin Meadows was in there, man. Yeah, it was. He was Glasnow along with Meadows, and a player to be named later was Shane Baz, and it was traded for Chris Archer.
Baz, wow.
Yep.
I didn't know Shane Baz was that old, but that makes sense.
In that Chris Archer deal. Yeah, that worked out well.
I used to love Chris Archer, and then he just kind of, once he went to Tampa Bay, it was... Or, I mean, Pittsburgh, it was downhill.
Pittsburgh, yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, Tyler Glasnow. That's that.
Voice.
Well, with that, shall we get the candles out and celebrate a birthday?
Let's do it.
This guy, we usually talk about really crappy people in the Hall of Fame. This guy definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, obviously. Looking online at his cards, obviously, his rookie card's one of the great ones, but I'm going to go with, I always just like those, that 1960, I think we'll go with a 65. Yeah, 65 Topps is what I'm going to go with. Just because I like that design. There's so many good cards to choose from for this guy, and but I'm going to go with the 65 Topps. It's always a good looking card. It's none other than a happy heavenly birthday to Pirates great and Hall of Famer Roberto Clemente, born on August the 18th of 1934. Career batting average of .317, 3,000 hits, 240 home runs, 1,305 runs batted in. Spent his entire career with the Pittsburgh Pirates from 1955 to 1972. 15-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, NL MVP, a World Series MVP, 12-time Gold Glove Award winner. All those were in consecutive years. 4-time NL batting champion. Commissioner's Historic Achievement Award. His number 21 has been retired by the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's also part of the Pittsburgh Pirates Hall of Fame. He's inducted in the Baseball's Hall of Fame via special election soon after his death there, and was elected in 1973. A little trivia on Clemente. I mean, there's so much you can pick, but Clemente was the first player from the Caribbean and Latin America to win a World Series as a starting position player in 1960, to receive an NL MVP award in 1966, and receive a World Series MVP award in 1971.
Very cool. Yeah. I truly do believe if he didn't pass away, I think the following year when the Reds ended up taking the Pirates in like 3 games to 2, I honestly think Pittsburgh could have beat them and made another World Series in the year after he passed away. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yep. So, yeah, happy heavenly birthday there to Roberto Clemente.
Happy birthday, you legendary son of a bitch.
Truly legendary, man. Oh, boy.
That's a fucking show.
Whew, good show, man. Good show.
Yes, sir. I believe next week we guys listen probably Hobby Huddle, right? Talk to
we'll have
Nicholas,
our Hobby
I'm sure
Huddle.
some
We'll
of
be
the-
announcing our winner. So
Yes.
keep getting on there. Setting up your Market Movers account. So anytime you enter, or set up your account, you're entered into the drawing for the jumbo box of Series 2 Tops. So get on that. Well, next week's show we'll be announcing the winner and doing our monthly Hobby Huddle segments. So that should be fun.
Yeah, like Steve said, check your emails, guys.
Check your emails.
Check your emails, because that's if you're a winner, man. Like, let's go. Like,
yeah,
come
especially
and get
those jumbo boxes.
box.
You get a lot of good shit with the jumbo boxes. A couple autographs, a couple of relics, I think. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
But in the meantime, Steve and I'll get out of here. Guys, have a great week, and we'll catch you guys all next week.
Deuces.